Did you know Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 10? Upgrade to Windows 11 with an LG Gram laptop. Voted PC Mag's Reader's Choice Top Laptop Brand for 2025. Thin and ultra lightweight, the LG Gram keeps you productive anywhere. And Windows 11 gives you access to free security updates and ongoing feature upgrades. Visit lgusa.com/iHeart for great seasonal savings on LG Gram laptops with Windows 11. PC Mag Reader's Choice used with permission. All rights reserved.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
What's up, champs? Welcome to another episode of Short Shifts, your twice-weekly show brought to you by Keeper Carlson, where we keep you up to track on all the information in between the mega shows. We welcome you into the new year. We're recording on January 1st, but you probably won't hear this on January 2nd. But the first bit of hockey news to come for you from Keeper Carlson for this new year. So, ready to get back into the saddle. We have good friend Nick coming back from his debut last week. Welcome back. How's it going?
Hey, Shams. Great to be here. I'm doing great. And if your resolution this year is to improve your standings in your fantasy league, you've come to the right place. So let's get right back into the news.
Yes, and let's get back into that. We have, opening up the show, we got a couple of Leafs updates, and we have Auston Matthews coming back from a one-game absence, and he came back hot. He had a hat trick alongside an assist, so basically any worry of that cold streak seems to be gone. Hopefully it's not just kind of a one or two game kind of spat, and this can kind of keep on going, but just kind of the simple thing is that if you're that person that was trying to fish for a low ball offer of a annoyed Matthews manager, I think that time might be gone, but either way, it's Matthews. He's going to be doing what he's doing, and he's going to keep on doing it. Now, while we have that, we don't have such wonderful news with Nylander. The odd thing is that not only did he miss the game today, the news is he's doubtful to practice tomorrow. So we're now even talking about doubtful and whatnot for practice. So this is something that we just kind of have to keep an eye on game day tweets, but like that doesn't sound good. So we'll just have to keep an eye for there, but I wouldn't be planning to have him back in my lineup for this fantasy matchup. And then talking about injuries, we have a third one. It's this one, maybe not as much in your points leagues, but maybe in your categories leagues with blocks, is that Chris Tanev is going to miss, quote, significant time with a groin injury. So while this is just bad news from a just kind of an overall standpoint, is that something to keep in mind is that Jake McCabe might be an interesting person of just the first game back. I think he had like 8 blocks in one game. So I think the idea is that he's probably going to be the banger defenseman to kind of take advantage out of this, but really just kind of a situation that just that defensive core taking a hit. Any interesting things to take a pick? Are you as high as Matthews thinking he's back as me, or would you be still shopping him around if you're a manager trying to take advantage of this hot streak?
I'm not entirely sure what to make of the Leafs overall, but Matthews has been red hot and shooting a ton recently, even with his injury. 8 points in the last 3 games, including, the hat trick and the assist on top tonight. Bobby McMann is probably rostered in a good bit of leagues, but Max Domi has been the third wheel on that line, and he picked up an assist against Winnipeg. So he could be available as a streaming option if you want to hop on the Matthews train.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's one of those situations where, like, with Nylander out and Nyes not being guaranteed that hip pocket deployment with Matthews, there's a couple of interesting players in your deeper leagues. I'm totally with you there. Now, going to the next Canadian city, we got Vancouver, who's getting just more bad news, is that while we have Elias Pettersson coming back, we just got news today that both Marco Rossi and Conor Garland are going to be out for, quote, at least a week. So at the very least, we don't have a long-term output, but that doesn't sound great of them just kind of coming back right away. So instead of just listing the lines off for you, this is just going to be another situation where it's just kind of an overall hit to everyone. Now, obviously, I think you're keeping your Elias Petterssons, your Sherwoods hit. There might be like one or two other stragglers, but like this is kind of a situation where I'm just not going to be like, oh, like how we just mentioned, say like Domi or like McMann getting extra playing time because of injuries. Honestly, I'm not interested in who takes what spots in Vancouver. I'm just going to let someone else take that risk. I'm going to be looking at a different team to try to get my fantasy points. Are you on the same page as me, Nick, or you someone fancying your eye that might be lower rostered?
I'm a little more forgiving on that, but the Canucks are in pretty dire straits. It looks like Kiefer Sherwood took Rossi's spot on the top power play, but he's probably rostered in most leagues. And I wouldn't be too keen on keeping anyone who isn't playing with Pettersson in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, for sure. So going forward to some good news is we got an update from the team that Werenski, quote, should be good for Saturday. So it's not 100% of a situation where he's going to be back, but by the sounds of it, I would be planning to have him back on my lineup if I had him in my roster. And then that is a ding on Mateychuk, who was taking that top power play. So Saturday is a busy day, though, so I'm not sure if you want to play shenanigans with keeping him on the IR, but personally, I would just put him back in, especially with their playing the Sunday as well. Just kind of have him in your lineup, be happy to have him. And then on the other side, though, is that we don't have any confirmation on Monahan. He's still, quote, day-to-day, so he could still play on that Saturday, but not official. But either way, with Werenski back, it's just a boost for everybody.
Yeah, Werenski's having a monster season, so get him back in your lineup as soon as he's healthy. The other player that I would check on is Mason Marchment. He's scored 4 goals, including 2 on the power play, and added 2 assists for 6 points in his first 5 games in Columbus. Also, Boone Jenner could be in line for a top 6 role, as Miles Wood has also been moved to the IR today.
Yeah, for sure. The idea is that, like, basically the way I look at it is if you're playing with Fantilli, I'm interested, and then you got that prime to play with Marchment, even if he's not shooting. Like, I have him in Cacuffle, and it's just that situation where you have Fantilli and Marchenko, which are easily the top 2 forwards. So if you get to play third wheel and he has some goal scoring, Marchment has some goal scoring ability on himself. If he's kind of floating around, at the very least, have your eye on your Sunday Savior if you're maybe in a shower league, but he's probably rostered in a good amount of spots. But at the very least, yes, I would be a fan of taking anyone that's playing with both Marchenko and Fantilli. And talking about players coming back, we have another person that's not officially coming back, but fingers crossed, is that Jack Eichel will travel with the team on this road trip. So we'll have to see if he plays in St. Louis. But if he does, a player to keep in mind is that they did kind of play around with the lines with him back. He had his original, Jack Eichel was centering both Braden Bowman and Barbashev. So this is going to be one of those situations that even if you're not a Eichel manager, but you have one of the tertiary players, just to keep an eye out if he plays on Saturday, against St. Louis tomorrow, that just to keep an eye out on what the lineup is to see where we're going with the total setup of the forwards. Because it's not just going to be one of those take one center out, put him in the second line, put him in. It could be a total wash. Moving from one top line center to another that's kind of in a questionable situation. We have not full information yet, so keep an eye out on game day tweets, but we have Bo Horvat got injured mid-game today. It looked like a lower body injury, and right now what we're being told is that he'll see the doctor on Friday and that there's no updates. So basically, it's going to be one of the situations where they're already kind of bereft of just like offensive talent. They got like a lot of like okay players, but the team's surrounded around Barzal and Horvat. So we'll just have to keep an eye out. If he's out for long term, I think this is kind of where I'm coming from with, say, the Vancouver situation. This is not going to be like, hey, who gets a benefit? It's just going to be a situation where everyone comes a little bit less desirable, but just something to keep an eye out. Hopefully it's not long term, but as of now, he didn't finish the game, and he's going to be checking doctors tomorrow.
Yeah, Horvat was a top offensive option on Long Island and played his way onto the Canadian Olympic roster, so this could be a huge blow to the Islanders' playoff hopes. This probably opens up an opportunity for either Callum Rittich or Simon Holmstrom in the top 6, but I would be more interested in seeing what happens with the top power play spot that will be up for grabs if Horvat misses time prior to the Olympic break. And staying on Long Island, we're still waiting to hear what Ilya Sorokin's status is for the near future. Coach Patrick Waugh said he was getting closer and closer and has been taking shots at practice, but we're not totally certain of his status going forward. David Rittich, on the other hand, has had a strong season so far. He's had 16.7 goals saved above expected and has done a great job as the backup in New York. He did give up 5 goals on 14 shots today, so this could be your cue to cut him if you think Sorokin is going to come back sooner rather than later. They don't play until a busy Saturday, so I would wait and see what that news on Sorokin looks like then. And sticking with the goalie news, we've got a pair of outjuries. Utah's Karel Vejmelka and LA's Darcy Kuemper are both back in their respective nets and will be presumably resuming their starting roles. For Utah, Mateychuk played well enough during Vejmelka's time away from the team, but I'd assume they'd swept right back to Vejmelka as the undisputed starter going forward. And in LA, Anton Forsberg seemed like he was good for a decent fantasy game every week and a half, and that's about it. But he did get the volume starts for the Kings over the past 2 weeks. I wouldn't hesitate to cut either of these players, though, with the stars returning here. And finally, over in Buffalo, they might have shouted Happy New Year last night, but they're still waiting for the ball to drop because the Sabres are on a roll. Buffalo has won 10 games in a row, and Alex Lyon was a big part of that. Unfortunately, he was injured recently and will miss, quote, a bit of time. Lyon was a tremendous value pickup for me and seemed to have secured the 1A position prior to his injury, so missing time will probably result in a timeshare between Colton Ellis, who was recently activated from the IR, and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, so we'll have to see how that shakes out. Shams, any thoughts on these goalie updates?
For me, is that it's kind of funny of just like how the idea of just Buffalo has like kind of just changed in these last like 10 game streak. We probably like people are joking about just them in general, and like people are just like afraid of playing any of their goalies. And right now we had, as you mentioned before, Lyon was on a hot streak, and now UPL is on a hot streak of his own. So I feel like if you're fine with like, there's going to be a game. Like, I'm not here to say that Buffalo is world beaters, but like might be a game here or there that they're going to get lit up. But I would be fine starting UPL as like I'm not sure he's going to get all the starts because the team seems to be interested in Colton Ellis, but like I could see him easily at least having like 2 or 3, if not more. So if you're looking for a volume level goalie, I would be perfectly happy to have him, because by the sounds of it, we don't know what it is, but it doesn't sound like Lyon's going to keep like back in a week or so. And then also talking about goalies that are a little bit surprising, I am a Rittich manager in both of my leagues, and I did eat that game today of just all those goals. But with how Sorokin's being talked about of like, oh yeah, he's taking shots, that just doesn't feel to me as like a player that's ready to play like 100% the next game. So this is one of those situations where each person's different. Maybe if it's a categories league and you're winning your rate stats, I might be a little bit hesitant to start Rittich against the Leafs. But if you have him on your roster like me, like right now, literally my 2 goalies in Cacuffle are Kevin Lankinen and Rittich with Allmark on the IR. So like if you're in a sketchy goalie situation and you already have him on your roster, I'd be fine giving Rittich another start, assuming he starts Saturday. But maybe if you have them on your free agency and you're looking for goalies to stream, I totally understand if you're looking for maybe a softer start that you would be going against, especially with so many players playing on Saturday. And with that, we'll take a short ad break and come back with Hot Streaks.
The holidays are heating up on Pick 6, DraftKings' newest fantasy pick'em game. Make your NBA picks for a shot to win big cash prizes this holiday season. Here's how it works. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. The more accurate your picks, the bigger the payout. It's the kind of upside you'll only find on Pick 6, not those other pick'em sites, and it's available in most states, including Texas, California, Georgia, and more. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. New DraftKings customers can play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits with code THPN. Ride the upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. In Connecticut, must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.
Did you know Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 10? Upgrade to Windows 11 with an LG Gram laptop. Voted PC Mag's Reader's Choice Top Laptop Brand for 2025. Thin and ultra lightweight, the LG Gram keeps you productive anywhere. And Windows 11 gives you access to free security updates and ongoing feature upgrades. Visit lgusa.com/iHeart for great seasonal savings on LG Gram laptops with Windows 11. PC Mag Reader's Choice used with permission. All rights reserved.
Welcome back, and now on to Hot Streaks. We got a couple of players that are kind of, I wouldn't say highly rostered, but might be interested to you in your deeper leagues or maybe some streamers with different situations. So we'll talk about Hot Streaks. We're going to go to a Flame on first start. So Nick, take us away.
Yeah, so our first one, the Calgary Flames have been surging back in the standings, and one of the hottest players on their team is their captain, Mikael Backlund, who's scored 5 goals and added 4 assists for 9 points over the past 6 games. He's been playing on the third line with Blake Coleman and Matt Coronado, and has really upped his shot count with just under 4 shots per game over this stretch. As someone who hovers around the Selke conversation, Backlund isn't typically thought of as a top offensive threat in Calgary, but he seems to be getting the bounces, and the Flames will need everything they can as they push back into the playoff picture. Shams, thoughts on Backlund or any other interesting Flames?
Yeah, I think in general, I'm kind of just like, at the start of the season, basically where I was, is that I was generally just not interested in any Flame. I kind of gave them, this is like the pejorative of like the Kraken treatment of just like, they all played a certain amount of minutes, and I wasn't really interested in who was going to be the person coming forward. But now I'm kind of turning it around, especially with this week coming up. They only play, I believe, Saturday this week. But the interesting thing is that next week they play 4 times, and 2 of them off nights. They actually have the nice Monday, Wednesday start to the week. So if you have like a leftover ad that you didn't use this week, and you have Sunday, and you have like the matchup locked up either way, it's a definite loss or a definite win, I would definitely be interested in taking a shot at like maybe if you're in a shower league and Coleman's available, or like a Backlund, or even a different forward that's like on one of the power plays. I would be worth just like taking a shot. You give them 2 games. If they do nothing, hey, they were on off nights, you didn't bench anyone. And then if they end up being, medium like holds, you got to win.
Yep, and everyone helps out there. So out in Pittsburgh, we have a pair of Pens that have been pretty hot recently. Anthony Mantha and Justin Brazeau have continued scoring with Evgeny Malkin out of the lineup. Both of these players have 4 goals and 2 assists over the past 6 games, including tonight's game against the Detroit Red Wings. Their deployment in the offensive zone is way up, and even without a ton of ice time, it seems like the coaching staff are really going out of their way to put these 2 in a position to succeed offensively. Mantha probably isn't available in most Cupful leagues, but Brazeau is 55% rostered, so there's a decent chance he could be available for some managers. Shams, you interested in any Penguins?
Yeah, these guys seem to keep on popping up on our hot streaks, both Brazeau and Vance, I believe, may have popped up into a hot streak, I think, like earlier in the season with Jeremy and I on a show. And I think I keep my same idea for both of these players. It's maybe Vance is a little bit different now because he has that power play one slot with Malkin out. But Brazeau, I keep the same idea, is that I look at these guys at Brazeau as a streamer. So say, for example, this week, they do play Saturday, Sunday for the remainder of the week. So obviously you're probably full on the Saturday, but maybe if you're looking for a Sunday streamer or savior, basically, that would be an interesting thing against Columbus, which is a team that is known, to give up some goals. Now, the idea is that if you do pick them up, the Penguins do only play 3 times next week, and I believe they don't play until like middle of the week. Yeah, their first game is Thursday next week, so it might be that place where, like, if you just need a game, pick them up on Sunday to help save you. But, like, I'm not 100% sold on Brazeau, but with Mantha, that top power play, I'm fine. Like, basically, if you have exposure to Sidney Crosby, I like you, and with Malkin out, Mantha does, so I'd be willing to ride the highs and lows with him a little bit longer.
And for our final hot streak, we will head to Colorado. The Avalanche are continuing their incredible season with just 2 regulation losses in their first 39 games. And the recent beneficiary of strong team play is Sam Girard, who has 3 goals and 6 assists for 9 points in his past 9 games. His value is somewhat inflated by a high on-ice shooting percentage, but value is value and can be tricky to find valuable defensemen in fantasy hockey. He's hot and currently available in about 80% of cupful leagues, so I would take a look at your waiver wire and see if your team could use someone like Girard. What do you think, Shams?
Yeah, it's like basically him, Malinsky, or Sam Malinsky are basically, I look at the same way, is that, like, say if you have a defenseman injury or you have maybe a weird slot where you have a spot open on Saturday, they do play 2 games on the weekend, so you can get a double dip. They do only play 3 games next week, so I'm kind of in a situation where if he fits on your roster, I might be open to having him like playing, but like say if you have 4 defensemen on your Cacufel roster and you're happy with all 4, I'm not 100% sure if I, need all my 4 moves, like I'm in a tight matchup. I'm not sure I'm going to be spending a move to get rid of a defenseman to add him, because in the end, Bakar is kind of the one that's going to get the top deployment. All the rest can have their ebbs and flows, and while they can get their points, I'm not sure I'm going to be rushing to grab them. And with that, we'll close out the show. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this, please consider joining the Keeping Karlsson Patreon group at keepingkarlsson.com/patron, where super supporters receive ad-free episodes, and you can interact with Brian, Elon, the Short Ship Cruise, and hundreds of other talented fantasy managers on our active Discord server. Check out GameDayTweets.com to get all of the best information from Twitter without having to slog through that site, including team by team and searchable tweets by player name. Visit the sites that we get our great info from, including Yahoo, Frozen Tools, Natural Stat Trick. Our intro and outro music was created by Pat Roach. And until we see you next time, play smart and keep your shifts short.
Did you know Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 10? Upgrade to Windows 11 with an LG Gram laptop. Voted PC Mag's Reader's Choice Top Laptop Brand for 2025. Thin and ultra lightweight, the LG Gram keeps you productive anywhere. And Windows 11 gives you access to free security updates and ongoing feature upgrades. Visit lgusa.com/iHeart for great seasonal savings on LG Gram laptops with Windows 11. PC Mag Reader's Choice used with permission. All rights reserved.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.